Today on our show,
Social media for business.
so let's take time to talk about it. Hello YouTube and welcome back to our show. My name is Patrick Zajdel and I'm the intern here at Albanese Branding. Joining me today is Dave Mader.
Glad to be here.
And Dave is the manager of digital development here at Albanese Branding. So before we get started on our show today, what exactly do you do here?
I coordinate all the digital services here at Albanese Branding, so whether that be websites, social media, online advertising, they're all kind of fall within my portfolio.
Okay, Dave, so today we're talking about social media. And the first question I have for you is, how can social media be useful for a business?
Well, I think you have to look at what social media really is, and social media is the new form of how we get most of our information. So particularly with young people. So you're going to get most of your news from there, you're going to get most of your interactions with your friends, more so than you even do in your day-to-day life in most cases. Social media is where the eyeballs are, so you have to look at it as an opportunity to have a conversation with your customer base. So it's very useful from this perspective of, if you want to get visibility, if you want to raise awareness, you need to have it in your mix. You need to have it as part of your marketing strategy.
Okay. Can social media be detrimental to a business if not implemented correctly?
Absolutely. So it's almost worse to do it badly than to not do it at all. So when you go to look up a business, if you're going to go shop somewhere, maybe have a major transaction, something like that, you're going to probably look up the business first, and you might do some research on it. And the places we go to research these things are websites, Google, like Google reviews and those kinds of things, and also Facebook, and a few other social media channels that can have like a digital presence for business. And if they're incomplete or really poorly taken care of, you haven't posted in like 6 years, it can be a lot worse for you than not doing it at all. Or you should wait to have that conversation when you're ready with the audience, but you should do it as soon as you can.
Now, you mentioned that social media is especially effective for younger generations.
Well, they're just more widely using it, but older generations are definitely on it.
Okay.
It varies, and it depends on your interests and what your thing is. But Facebook tends to be the most encompassing social platform because it has the most users. So most people have some kind of a presence on there. How many people do you know that don't have Facebook? Probably not that many?
No, it's not that many. There's a select few that don't.
Right. Now, they may not check it every day, or they may use another social platform more so than Facebook, for instance, but everybody is touching it in some way, I find.
All right, Dave, so you mentioned a couple of the social media channels out there right now, but is all social media the same?
Well, if you treat it on its most basic level, yes. All social media is a different type of a platform, a different website where you can interact with other people that you know and don't know and share pictures, information, different things. But they all have a different purpose. Like, they all have something that they specialize in that makes them unique and attracts a different audience to them, a slightly different one. So when you get more into it, no, they're very different. And the reason for this is because the ones that have something different, a gimmick, something that makes it unique to them, are the ones that survive. And the ones that are just generically like the others, they tend to fade away and not be successful.
I find that, and especially recently, that a lot of the different platforms out there, they do the same things. And what I'm talking about is Facebook, Instagram, implementing features that are very popular and that are the foundation of Snapchat.
Well, this is the social media war that has been going on for some time, and everybody wants the most market share. Facebook is king. The reason they've been so successful is because they see something in another platform. Let's take, about 5-6 years ago, there was Foursquare. Foursquare was an app you can go in and check into locations and collect badges and do all this thing. Well, Facebook's just like, we'll just add geo check-ins, we'll add in virtual check-ins to locations as part of our platform. And the second they did that, Foursquare just kind of went away, because why? People don't have the time or the desire to use more platforms than they need. So they all have to offer something unique, or they kind of fade away and die. Take, for instance, Instagram. Very recently, they just integrated Instagram Stories, which is essentially what Snapchat does. And they've taken that whole feature because people really like it. It gives you that kind of that real-time ability to chat with your friends, but it kind of it vanishes. It's temporal. It's temporary, and there's a lot of appeal to that, especially with younger people. So Instagram is attempting to take some of the market share away from Snapchat, and the more that they can differentiate themselves, the better the chance they have of sticking around for a long time.
Right, and it's without a question that Facebook and Instagram are giants in the social media world. Do you think that Snapchat is going to fade away?
I don't think it's going to fade away, but I think that there's going to be a war between Snapchat and Facebook for dominance in the coming years, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
We've discussed a little bit in some detail Facebook. I think we mentioned Twitter, we mentioned Instagram, Snapchat. So what else is out there, and how do you exactly use these platforms as a business?
Well, Patrick, there are many platforms out there. There are new ones coming out every day, but the ones that have caught on and have sort of taken up the most market share are what I like to call the Big Six. The Big Six right now are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and Pinterest.
Okay.
And they all have a different hook, a different niche, something that makes them unique and makes people want to use them. Because if you can get the same experience on two of them, then one of them will probably fade away and die. Facebook, for instance, is the most widely used social platform out there. It's been around for 10 years now, and in terms of businesses and brands and different groups can create their own pages within it. So not only do I, as Dave Mader, have an identity there, but so can a company, just like they do on Google. And this is important because a lot of people look at a company's business page for, what are you talking about? What's your personality? What are your products? What can I learn about you on Facebook that I may not be able to learn on your website? And there often is a lot of information there, especially if there's pictures and photos of your staff and different things you're doing, events. It can be a really clear window into who you are as a business. And in some cases, it's a great place for business, for actual e-commerce, for generating more online sales. So let's take Twitter next. Twitter is conversational in nature, and the great thing about Twitter is that it allows you to have these kind of ongoing conversations with people and brands. So if you're a consumer and you have an issue with a store or a service or whatever, you can tweet directly to that account, and often what the best practice to do is to reply directly to that consumer's issue. And most of the time, I think it's 90% of the time, they'll have a better feeling about that brand after having directly engaged with it, because they feel special, they feel like they've been reached out to and acknowledged, and that their voice has been heard. So Twitter is a place for you to hear the voices of your customers. So let's take Instagram next. Instagram is a platform that works similar to Twitter, but it's more visual based. So you're able to put up photos, and it can only come from your mobile device directly. So it's very phone driven, very mobile device driven. And that allows for a whole different experience because much like Twitter, you are following people you know and people you don't know. So you can engage with people using hashtags and different things like that to interact. And it's a great B2B tool if you want to market to other businesses, because there's a good chance that you can get your product out there, show to as many eyeballs on your thing as possible without having to use paid media, for instance.
Okay. I think a really good example, and I'm not sure if you've noticed this too, but on Instagram is GoPro.
Yes.
They have really great pictures and they incorporate videos as well.
Yeah, I've seen that, and GoPro does a great example, and it works well for their brand because their brand is making cameras and it's all visual, so it makes perfect sense that they would really exploit something like Instagram to really show off how you can take still photos and video content, and they're using their customer base. They're saying, hey, go out there and take the best shots you can and put them on Instagram as part of contests and things like that. What better endorsement of your product than getting people to talk about it on social media?
Right, it's definitely a unique strategy, and it's working for them.
So. Yeah, so that's kind of Instagram in a nutshell. The next one would be LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the older social platforms. I think it's one of the oldest. It's been around since 2002, and its whole hook is business orientated. So you can have your online profile, which is more like a digital resume, and you can deal with groups and that might have a specific business interest. You can network on there, and you can stay connected with people who you may not want to be your Facebook friend, but you might want to keep track of them throughout your career. So it's really good from that perspective. What it's great for from business is more on the HR side. So it's a great place to find new recruits if you're looking for great candidates. I think that that's my most used job search tool that in the past. And as well, it's a great place for prospective candidates to find the companies that they want to work for. And it gives a lot of credibility for your company to have a digital presence on there. So you want a LinkedIn page on some level. It just makes you look like more of a legitimate business than not having it. Snapchat, for instance, is it's a relatively new platform. It only came out about 5 years ago. And what it does, it allows you to have these temporal conversations. So you can send videos and pictures to your friends, but then they vanish, or you can send those privately. The hook here for Snapchat, in my opinion, is that you can have a social media experience that doesn't include your parents or grandparents, people you may have on your Facebook, but you may not want to put out crazy videos of you guys out on the town on a Saturday night or something like that. So Snapchat has this whole different effect to it, where it's not it's very much in its infancy in terms of advertising, but there are a lot of great business opportunities there. And if you want to talk to younger people in particular, I think it's one of the best places to market right now. But it works a little differently than the other platforms. Do you use Pinterest?
I do not, no.
Pinterest is a lot of fun. Pinterest is about collecting things and finding new ideas and building boards. You find images and recipes and whatever, so you can kind of collect these little collections of yourself, whatever you're into. For me, it might be hockey players, but for somebody else, it might be wedding designs, wedding dress designs. It could be events. It could be cookie recipes. There's a whole bunch of different things there. Pinterest is great for business because it allows you to show off product. It works well for retailers, particularly in higher ticket items like furniture, jewelry, and areas like that, because you can get your products in front of people and share, and being constantly repinned and shared throughout their platform.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not a big Pinterest user, but maybe it's something that I should check out.
Well, be careful because you might go down the rabbit hole and never come out. Because that's what happened to me. I was a Pinterest junkie for months, and then I had to go into detox and say, because you can literally keep going forever. It's great, but it's also it's so addictive and feels never ending a little bit too.
So now that we've talked about the big six, is there one social media platform that you would say that every business should be on?
I'd say if I had to pick one, and normally I would tell you that they all have their different purposes depending on what your objective are. But if you're like just any kind of small business, especially a storefront business, Facebook is the best place to be, because Facebook allows you to create that digital identity for your business like the other platforms don't. For instance, like I could have a Twitter account for my business, but it doesn't like do anything different for me there. It's just like if I was a regular user. So Facebook it customizes that experience much more, allows it for it to be found through SEO rankings a lot more, through search engines, that is. And so I would definitely recommend having some kind of a presence on Facebook, but make sure if you do it right.
Okay, Dave, well, I think you shared some great tips and insight into the world of social media and how businesses can utilize it to their advantage. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we've got for today.
What? Oh, that's too bad. I could have gone all day.
So thank you for being on the show.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, Dave, I think you know how I'm going to close the show off, so I'm just going to sit back and I'll let you do all the talking.
Well, I'm glad you, as a guest, I can help you out in that way. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. Right down here, you're going to see a button to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe for future updates on Take 10 at 10. You can watch our previous episode by clicking on the left, or the next episode by clicking on the right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.